Do not listen to the idiots saying anime will only teach you funny Japanese. It will, but that's literally not the point of watching Japanese TV. And do not listen to the weeb saying it's important to watch things that interest you. It is, and we'll get to that, but that's not the point either. Here's why you should learn Japanese with anime. Anime is easy to understand. Now, I don't mean they use simpler language, although that is sometimes the case. What I mean is they always speak clearly. In natural speech, language can get slurred and mixed up and hard to understand, but in anime, every single character enunciates every single syllable of every single word 100% of the time. Let's compare the Steins Gate anime with the stage production, and let me know if you can spot the difference.
やったのか。ミッションコンプリートセカンド。
それで結果は？
まだ何も見てないよ。来たー！来た来た来た来た来た来た来た！さあ観念して俺の前に全てを晒し上がってるゲット！
Basically night and day, right? Think of this as beginner mode. You should be using anime to learn Japanese until you get used to hearing it. Now, obviously, if you only learn Japanese with anime, you will eventually need to pick up natural speech. But this leads us to point number 2, which is you don't need to learn natural speech. Now, before I get a bunch of, and let's be honest with ourselves, weeaboos trying to tell me how superior they are by trying to sound natural, let me explain. Let's say, hypothetically, you're technically fluent in Japanese, but you've literally only learned by watching anime. Your speech is probably going to be a little fucked up. To fix it, this is going to involve A, talking to someone. I thought maybe there was gonna be a part B or something. No, obviously there wasn't, because if you can understand a language, picking up someone else's speech habits is going to be literally the single most trivial thing you could possibly do. Think of how little time it takes you to learn new English slang. What's the difference? You speak English. That's literally all there is to it. So if you speak Japanese, learning new speech habits is not very hard. So instead, you should be focusing on merely learning the language. Consider this. What is the goal of language input? That is to say, why are you watching Japanese TV beyond, learning Japanese? There are 2 goals. Goal 1 is learning to hear Japanese. Goal 2 is learning to hear Japanese. Do you see the difference? Goal 1 is being fluently receptive to the language. Goal 2 is being able to decipher the words you hear. These are the 2 biggest hurdles you have to overcome in learning a language, and yet because they're so related, you might not have even considered that they're 2 separate goals. And so what anime does is simply let you focus on goal 1. Once you're past that, then move on to goal 2. And given that goal 1 is the hardest part, wouldn't you want to make this a whole lot easier? Yes, you would. Once you're past goal 2, then you can move on to sounding natural. Obviously, don't go around calling people omae or kisama. You still have to use your brain. But the point is, natural speech is important, but it's a fucking trivial thing compared to, understanding Japanese. Obviously, learning to hear Japanese isn't a straight line, but anime is merely a tool, and in my humble opinion, it's one of the best. So when people say you shouldn't learn Japanese with anime because you'll sound like a fucking weeaboo, feel free to slap them in the face with your huge, massive weeaboo cock, because now you know better than them. Because these people seem to have forgotten the big picture. Your goal is to learn Japanese. Anime is Japanese, not some foreign language. Except for this.
俺はゲームマスター泣かせのフラグクラッシャーだ。
And this.
ロストテクノロジーかよ。
And this.
I am math scientist. It's so cool.
Son of a bitch.
Okay, the sad part is this isn't even an inaccurate representation of modern Japanese. Hilarious. So now that that's out of the way, we should address some of the other points. You should absolutely watch things that interest you. No one learns a language just for the sake of learning a language. Well, some people maybe do, but sane people. Having goals is really, really important, so being able to watch anime and feel yourself understand more and more of it without English is really, really rewarding. You should constantly be getting input through anime, dramas, music, and other media so you can be tracking your progress and feel rewarded at every step of the way. Speaking of which, you should step on the like button right now so I feel rewarded for being such an amazing weeaboo. So all of this isn't to say you won't get more benefit from watching something like Death Note or Space Brothers rather than something like, say, Naruto. Not necessarily because they use more realistic language, although they definitely do, but more because they spend less time shouting and doing stupid shit and more time talking like actual fucking people. To clarify, I don't mean talking naturally, I mean the action of talking as a thing normal people do, because a lot of anime characters more closely resemble autistic monkeys than humans. But I mean, the important part is that it interests you, so if you really love Naruto, go fucking nuts, I guess. So now for the one thing you don't want to hear. You can't just turn on anime and expect to learn Japanese. That's what a lot of weeaboos do, and spoiler alert, they don't fucking learn anything. Sorry to be a wet blanket, but just because you should be watching lots and lots of anime doesn't mean you don't have to study, because you do, and you have to study every motherfucking day. Anime should be supplemental to your studies. Wait, no, don't fucking go yet, because as luck would have it, I happen to have the perfect study tool to help you learn Japanese with anime, and assuming you're from the future, please tell me if we have robot mecha suits yet, you should be able to see it right here. And for those of you unlucky enough to not be from some sort of futuristic utopia with robot mecha suits, I guess stay tuned for that. And for my second follow-up video about the kinds of anime you should be watching. Until then, thank you so much for your time, friends, and I will see you in the next video.